Hey everybody, it's Jeff. This is going to be part 19 of the MiniArt British B-type armored lorry in 1/35th scale. Of course the furnace is running again. Came on just as I started to speak. I've already done a little bit of work on it this morning. So I got the bed glued down and I got the decals on. I'll show you what I did. Got just a little bit more to do, and then I'm going to let the decals dry really well and then clear coat it with a flat, let that dry real well, and we'll do some weathering. So let's go down the bench and I'll show you where we're at. Okay, I'll be right back. Thanks guys. Okay, this is pretty much where we left off last time. The only thing that I've done is I've glued the bed down. It's not a big deal. There's some little, they're supposed to represent bolts that straddle the frame in several places all the way down. Let's turn this over. And they want you to add these little cross pieces. It would be like a bolt with a strap, just to hold everything in place. So I've got a bunch of those to do. I think I'll probably do them off camera. They're just not a big deal. You just glue them on, and then I'll have to touch up the paint. But there's one on there. I know you probably can't see it. But there's two at the front, so we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 on each side to do. I put the skid plate on yesterday. Let me go ahead and put this back in the tray for now before I lose it. So I'll go ahead and do those off camera. It's not that big a deal. I need to put the exhaust pipe on. One thing I did do in the, that's kind of fragile there. In the instructions, they have the little number plate in here in white. Okay, I tried a couple times to paint it in white. It just didn't look right, so I just took a sanding stick and I sanded the paint off and made it brass. I did notice later in the decal sheet that they do have the numbers here, so I guess I could have taken these and put them over the brass plate or instead of the brass plate. But anyway, I like it in the brass. It kind of matches up with the horn and a few other of the pieces that I have. So those I'd like to get put on today. The RN. They stand for the Royal Navy. I think I've said it a few times, but these started out life as double-decker London buses. And they stripped them down basically here back, and they put this armor plate on there. And the reason they were building these was for raiding the dirigible bases in Belgium that the Germans had. So they weren't armored. They had, of course, probably troops in the back that they weren't armed, I should say. They had troops in the back that carried rifles and things, but there were no machine guns or anything mounted actually to them. I've got a little step I need to put on. Very, very last. It's so fragile. And I've got the exhaust, and then I've got the crank in the front I need to put on. Again, very, very fragile. Those will be just like very last minute things. And then I've got the lights that are all painted, and I put the lenses in them just a little while ago. They're really still not dry yet. Those will be about lasting too. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the exhaust pipe on. And then let's see if we can get some decals on this. This is lacquer paint and it's really smooth. I've not had any problem at all with putting decals directly over it without doing a clear coat first. Let's see if I still have. Yeah, this is still pretty good. I'll go ahead and use CA. Just here and just here. And the top where it connects to the engine, I won't glue at the moment. I'll do that a little later. Goes right like so. Give it a second. Okay, there we go. That'll set up. It's already setting up. Okay, so these are the parts for the bed that I'll do later. I'm just trying to keep things together. There's the step, there's the crank, and the two lights. That's about it for parts that are left. Okay, there are just a few photo etch parts left over. They are so extremely tiny, you'll never see them. I'm not going to worry about them too much. Okay, let me get set up here real quick. When I do my decals, pull that stuff to the back. I try and use scissors to cut them out. I keep this pair just for my modeling. I got some paint or something on there. About the only thing that I use these for is for my decals. Anyway, what I was going to say is what I'm going to do is I'll put the decals on this. Since it's a nice smooth lacquer finish, there is not going to really be a need for any clear. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the model set for a day or two and let the decals dry really, really well. And then I'm going to put a flat clear coat on it, and I'm going to wait another couple of days and let that dry really, really well. And then I'll come back and I will do some weathering on it. Most likely I'll just use some oils and do a little bit of a wash and things, but I don't like to dirty my models up too bad. Okay, let me get some things together here. I generally do not dunk my decals. Hang on a minute, let me grab something. Okay, sorry for the noisy chair. This is Dawn dishwashing detergent. I just put a drop of that in the water. It breaks the surface tension and it makes the decal set nice and flat. And it also lets me wet the surface so I don't have to worry about the decals sticking before I'm ready for them. So there's just a little bit of distilled water. Of course, I'm making a mess. Okay, and we'll just put, generally what I do is I just barely get a little on a toothpick and put it in there. If you get carried away, then you end up making a foamy mess and you gotta wait a while to use it. That'll break our surface tension. Okay, that should be good. And the water is just room temperature. It is distilled water. So when I put I always wet the surface before I put the decal down, just to give it a little something to slide on. So that should be pretty good. Okay, let's see here. If I can prop this up. First one I want to put's right there. That ought to work. Put it right there. I can hear kids getting ready to go to school. Okay. Generally what I do is I just take a brush, a clean brush, and I wet the surface front and back. I don't generally just dunk the decals. If they're real big, sometimes you have to. But MiniArt have some really, really good decals. They generally release without too much problem. Okay, let's see here. Not quite yet. They'll release pretty quick. Just get both sides nice and wet. Okay. Gotta have patience. The carrier foam on these are really, really thin. There we go. Okay. We're good now. Okay. Wet the surface here so that the decal has something to slide on. And it's not beating up on there, which is what I want. Yeah, I know you probably can't see, but I'll just drop that on there. And adjust it a little bit. Let's see. Okay, and I need a clean Q-tip. Sorry about the noisy chair. And just roll it. Jordan hears the kids next door leaving for school. Okay. That's how I do them. I hardly ever, with MiniArt, I hardly ever need any setting solution or anything. So let me go ahead and do the other three, and I'll come back and I'll show you the result, okay? Be right back, guys. There we are with the decals all finished up. I decided to go ahead and put this side of the hood on. It just looked better that way. The whole hood is loose, so I can lift it off if I want to see the engine. Okay. So there's all the decals. There's just 4 decals. It didn't take very long to put them on. And like I say, I'm going to leave these alone for a couple of days. Then I'll clear coat it with a flat clear coat and let that dry for a couple of days. So it'll be a few days before I come back and show you this again. I've still got the headlights to put on, the crank to put on, that step to put on, and those little plates that go underneath, which are no big deal at all. In the meantime, we'll start working on, move this back so I don't break it. In the meantime, this will be the one that we're going to get started on. Okay, if I can hold the camera straight. Okay, so I'm going to break into this box. I've already done an unboxing, so you can go back and look at my playlists and you can see that. It's the first Thunder model kit that I've ever built. I've actually got another one that I'll be building before too long. But I'll get started on this, and in the next few days we'll be working on this, and then we'll jump back to the Lorry and do some weathering and stuff on it. Okay? I'll put a couple of pictures up at the end. I really appreciate you guys watching and commenting. I enjoy that a lot. And we'll talk to you real soon, okay? Okay, bye-bye.